This is just a video to sort of comment on an observation that, I just sort of made, or a realization, I guess, that I came to. Maybe other people have seen this or kind of reached it themselves. But, lately, particularly lately, the Obama camp and the way they've conducted themselves and the never-ending cries of racism towards, white America in particular, and maybe just non-black America in general, if they don't support him, compared to the white part of America that does. But something kind of just sort of hit me watching various clips online, on news, reading blogs from people about how it's almost like a role reversal today compared to the way America was, say, in the early 1900s, 20s, 30s. This was after slavery, way before the civil rights movement, when black America was mostly second-class citizens if we were lucky. But if you've ever seen those old-time movies, when they actually did have a black person in them, they were always in the role of the buffoon, or that sort of step and fetch it character that we were usually portrayed as. The thing is that as long as you were smiling and dancing and pleasing the whites, you were tolerated. You were never going to be accepted as an equal, but you were entertaining, so you were allowed to stay around and please them, and you might be thrown a crumb for your trouble. But if you compare that to what's happening today, and an example that I think really showcases it is what happened in that Trinity Church with that Father Flagler or Pleffler, whatever his name is. But he was going into his rant. He tore into Hillary, and it was his speech, his mannerism, and just disrespecting her in particular, and white people in general. Sounding and acting much like, I suppose, the other preachers of that particular church, and I guess some other kinds of churches similar to it, but what I mean, coming across as really just, like a black preacher in that environment. But he was patted on the back, he was embraced by the congregation because he was pleasing to them, he was telling them what they wanted to hear, he was entertaining. But of course, if he had said anything even remotely displeasurable to these people about a person of color, he would have been attacked. He would have been, beaten from white to black and blue, emphasis on black. So it's the same thing. He is the step and fetch it of this era, but it's in reverse, and he's one example, but it's sort of out there. I'm not going to say it's in general the black community, but I do kind of get the sense that a certain segment of it that really supports Obama sees him as a way to get even with white America. They see that, or they think that if he should become president, there will be this sort of reversal and, I suppose, a reckoning or revenge, depending on how you want to look at it, as what was done to us over the, many generations. That you will have two different classes of white America. You will have those that are in support of him. The black community isn't going to look at you as equal, but you are supporting our president, and that's how I think most blacks who are supporting Obama look at him. They look at him as their president, not white America there, but the white America that's helping him to become president will be tolerated. They will be treated okay. the white America that is resisting him is vilified. They're the field white niggers, I suppose, as opposed to the White House niggers, if you know what I mean, that the ones that are okay to have around. But that is what I see, what is happening here. And there was a post by one of the Puma pack leaders, or I don't know if she's a leader or not, but she wrote in a post, and at the end of she was talking about a sort of a confrontation that she had at her workplace, and I think it was. But at the end of the post, she said something like, I don't think Obama knows what he's doing or how bad he's making it for African Americans. And I understood what she said and what she was meaning, but it sounded like there was a building resentment that, you know, we understand the hatred directed at Obama, and you are justified in hating for the things that he's done and is attempting to do, but it's sort of like I think there's this resentment because when you see polls that say 93% of Black America voted for him, you start to think, you know, the hatred sort of spills over, and I think it's becoming harder and harder to separate the hatred towards him and his campaign to, you know, blacks in general. And in that regard, I understand, because I kind of resent the 93% that supported him myself. I have to sometimes fight and to, you know, keep that in check. But what I see happening here is that there's a danger of really becoming the thing that they are accusing you of, because the charge that he and his supporters throw out is racist, racist, racist. I know that's not true for the vast majority of the people that didn't or aren't supporting him. But when you get to the point where the resentment builds, that you start hating simply because the person supporting the guy that you hate is of the same background, then you are in jeopardy of becoming that, you know, the racist that they claim you to be. It is a terrible thing that Obama has put this country in, but you have to fight back, and that means, you know, not just trying to stop this, but how you feel. I mean, I did a video a couple of months ago which was called Divide and Conquer. If you haven't checked it out, you know, look through my list of videos and take a listen to it. But again, it is absolutely what he has done and what he's continuing to do in so many levels, you know, dividing and conquering the Democratic Party, dividing and conquering races. God knows what about the country if he should ever get in there, but I don't think people understand the depth of this war, and I think that's what it's becoming. What this is. We have to wake up to it. You know, there were the abolitionists of the day who fought against slavery. I think that this is the modern day equivalent, and you need to decide which side you are on. And just a quick, clue to Black America, that this man is the biggest con artist to come down the pike since I don't know when. He does not give a shit about Black America any more than he gives a shit about white America. He cares about him. So you want to believe the con, that's your choice, but, you know, when it happens, I hope you are on the right side.